Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel. I hope you guys are all doing well today. It's Friday, so thank God for that. I wanted to come on here briefly and talk a little bit about Miss Karen Huger. It's being reported, I think TMZ was the first people to report it, but I could be wrong about that. Anybody could have. But basically, what has happened allegedly is that Miss Huger was driving somewhere, maybe home, I don't know, but she was driving somewhere and she crashed her vehicle and then received a DUI. I think that's driving under the influence of something. Um, Apparently, she was drunk. I'm not sure exactly how to know that. Maybe they breath tested her or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But she did receive a DUI. So I have a few points to make about this. She already had a DUI previously, which is what I figured. That's why she always had Mr. Blue Eyes or a driver, so that she didn't ever have to worry about that. So that's very confusing to me why she didn't do the right thing. But we don't always do the right thing. You know, they tell us how many children get kidnapped from a car or whatever a year, and people still park at the gas station. Park at the gas station. They're like, I have tinted windows. I just need to run in here real quick. And they leave their kids because it's like, dang, I got to unbuckle them and rebuckle them. It's just a whole hot mess. It takes about 10, 15 minutes to get their life together. So I think a lot of people make that mistake. And unfortunately, things happen that aren't, the best. So I'm just saying that to say that it could be any of us. I don't drink. I mean, I drink occasionally, but I'm just not very good at it. I just like the way it looks. I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. Yeah, I want to. I know, I'm that girl. But, and, I'll take a few sips, but I'm just not that person that's going to go out and drink like that. So that's thing number one. She's already been down this road and she's been to this part of the zoo and she understands, or I thought she understood, the consequences of driving drunk. That's what I thought. So that's one argument that I would guess I'm gonna make. The other side is because you are responsible for yourself as an adult. It just is what it is. The flip side to that is I'm not gonna drag her. Although I think what she did, if what they're reporting is accurate, is reckless is the word I'll use. It's very reckless. It just is. But this is my thing, and I'm not really that girl to do like the well, what about this and other people do that. But I have to bring this up because my husband and I used to go to lots of Houston Texans games, and like I said, we don't drink. But you're sitting around looking at whatever before the game starts, and they are literally selling these people, these 30,000 deep stadium full of people, with alcohol. Budweiser after Budweiser after Budweiser, or whatever it is. The thing is, they do that the entire time, right? So people are popping and, doing their thing, feeling good about the game. The problem that I have is it's the hypocrisy of society because people are dragging this lady, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't be reported. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm in no way saying that on some level she doesn't necessarily deserve it. I'm saying that we have very confusing rules to me that are very hypocritical, and it's like a double standard. So nationally, meaning our federal government says that we are not allowed to drive drunk. You will get a DUI or DII, whatever it's called, right? And we've all, at some point or another had someone tell us it's not a good idea to drive drunk. Whether that was at the driver, what is that thing they give you? But you got to go in case you get a ticket. I forget what it's. Driver, it's not driver's ed. It slips my mind. But basically, we've all seen those videos of, usually the victims of someone who wasn't responsible, who didn't prepare ahead. And I'm going to just say in my little world, I go to this place called Papado's a lot, Kona Grill, other places like that where people are happy, hanging out with your friends or your coworkers or whoever, and people are having, drinks they're consuming. And that establishment, whichever one it is, all of them, I will say. I shouldn't say all because I don't know all. But many of the ones that I've gone to, I see those people walk right out the door. After I can see them consuming alcohol multiple times, multiple drinks. And I know there are some people that argue, oh, I ate and, it's been 5 hours since I'm sitting here. So it's okay. I can't measure anyone else's health in general. And I certainly can't manage what they're able to handle or not handle. And this is my thing. I feel like, because prohibition didn't work way back when. So I feel this way. In order for the government to continue to tax the alcohol people, whoever those people are, and make a profit off of those taxes, they've agreed to, in my opinion, allow people to go to an establishment and get drunk knowingly. All of those cops and whomever at the stadiums, they know these people are in here consuming alcohol. Many of them. And a lot of them have their children with them. How irresponsible. I'm simply saying, don't judge anyone unless you're perfect. Because I promise you better be perfect before you judge me. Just saying. So, like I said, it's a double standard. Why are these people able, 30,000, however many it is that particular stadium can fill, why is that legal? Why is it okay to serve all of these people, or a good majority of these people, alcohol during some sort of sporting event? And then nobody stops them. They all get in their car and they go wherever they're going. And here's the thing. I would feel like there would be someone stopping them, mainly because you already have the police there. And the police and the stadium, whoever owns it, and they all know that people are in there consuming. They have a contract with whoever to come in there and sell alcohol. So they know this. And yet, they let people do it anyway. So I feel like our government's set up like, okay, you know how they say, whatever the percentage was that, whatever it was, her level of alcohol consumption. So they've decided, okay, let's make this rule. Okay, so this, as long as they don't pass this, then they're fine. But if they pass that, then they need to go to jail. But if alcoholism or trying to prevent vehicles and people from getting in accidents because of drinking, then you would probably need to say there isn't some acceptable level. There just shouldn't be. And I know lots of people who go to the club or go wherever and they drink and they have a good time. So I don't want to, I'm not the person to say take all the alcohol away or whatever the case may be, but it just seems very hypocritical to me to say you at your house better not leave the party, better not leave whatever you have going on and get in your car and have after consuming alcohol. Y'all better not do that. But we're going to allow the NBA, NFL, MLB, all of these different organizations that profit millions of dollars a year, probably even billions, I don't know. We're going to allow them to do exact thing that you told us we can't do. So it's okay for me to leave this stadium wasted. But I better not leave whatever restaurant Karen was in or wherever she was coming from. She better not do that. How dare she? And like I said, don't get it twisted. I definitely think you shouldn't drive drunk. I definitely think she deserves to understand the impact that her actions could have had or could have taken. Thank God, reportedly, no one was injured. And bravo, I need y'all to come all the way to the front and don't be trying to fire this lady for this incident. I think it's a teachable moment, and I think Karen is a good person to do it, because although Karen can be very, very ratchet, she could be very ratchet and very hood, and she be collecting them girls and getting them together, honey. She also, to me, is probably, when she's not in a tit for tat situation, is one of the most level-headed, I would say, person on that cast. So, I know people are dragging her, and I just don't think it's fair. I think, okay, let me take that back. It is fair, especially to those people who've lost someone due to someone driving drunk. And so this has been going on for a few days. So I didn't come out the gate because I just really wanted to see what else was going to be reported. And Karen Huger finally broke her silence, I guess. I hate when they say that. It's like she's been quiet for 2 days, so she broke her silence. Shut up. Anyway, TMZ's reporting that Karen Huger's talking now, and let me see. I just want to read a few things that she said. She said, "Thank you all for your prayers and well wishes during this very frightening experience. I'm still in shock from last night's incident, but grateful to be alive today. With the, I don't know, is that passing or with the passing of my beloved mother, grief comes and goes in waves, and with Mother's Day approaching, it has felt more like a tsunami." She adds, "Last night I met a girlfriend for dinner. We talked about some upcoming very emotional situations, and I was crying on my way home and saw a car heading right for me, so she swerved." So she basically saying she was in a fragile emotional state. She made a bad decision, but she was making that decision due to the grief that she has regarding her mom, and her father also passed. So I'm not going to read all of that. Y'all can read it. The description is in the the link is in the description. The other thing I just wanted to point out is hold on one second. You know what? I use my iPad so much that whenever I'm trying to scroll up or down, I do this and I'll be poking and I'm like, oh, it's not my iPad. Anyway, there was one other thing or two that I wanted to talk about. Oh, and this is the other thing too. I feel like, I'll say this. It's been reported multiple times that when these ladies or whomever it is, whatever reality show is on, that Bravo is filming, and probably not only Bravo, but from what's been reported repeatedly over the years is that Bravo will have these people. The one that I remember specifically, they'll have the cast come to Vanderpump Rules, right? And then they serve them alcohol. And when I say they, it's there, right? And you obviously have a right to consume or not. I don't know a person that likes to drink or drinks occasionally wouldn't take a free beverage. Maybe there are people out there like that. But I just think most people are like, okay, it's free alcohol. So I just think I can't blame Bravo, right? But I do think they make it worse. I think they accelerate the situation. And I do think that they do that intentionally so that they can get they can have drama, especially if the show doesn't have much of it. So you're under the influence. You may do anything that you may not ordinarily do if you weren't under the influence of something. So, and then especially, that's like, to me on some level, it's not exactly the same, but it's like going to work or to a Christmas party for your job and having other substances that aren't alcohol, right? Illegal substances, whether it's pills or people like playing in the snow or whatever it is. Imagine having that on display at a Christmas party. Of course they're going to be a part of it. Of course they're going to consume it. And people know that. So that's why they do it. But anyways, I just feel like, probably with the exception of maybe Candy Burris or another person on the franchise that maybe I don't watch or recap, they all seem to drink. And then their behavior a lot of times changes. And some people, they're happy or whatever the case may be. So I just feel like if we're gonna do let's drag Karen it through the mud, then we need to line up all of, because I have a video called Criminals by Bravo. Because there's so many people. Anyways, I'm just like, what about Luann de Lesseps? She was driving drunk. Was she driving drunk? No, I think they came and got her out of the hotel. Yeah, I think that's what happened. The cops were called because she was so drunk that she was trying to get into the room that wasn't hers, allegedly. But she got out her handcuffs. I promise you that lady didn't sit in jail. Like, if she looked like me, I promise I would have sat in jail. They did not put that lady in jail. So I'm just like, don't say anything unless your life is perfect, and no one's life is perfect. But everybody does have a right to their opinion. I would say I heard another content creator say on their channel, I think it was Rodney the Voice. He said something like he basically gave her a plan of action for next season. And I liked most of his ideas for her because that's kind of how I would do it. But one thing I disagreed was he said something like, um, Karen needs to, check herself into some sort of rehab facility so that when I guess she comes back and starts filming in 3 months, however long it is that they have off, she can present to the world, hey, I went and did something about my problem. Here's why I disagree. The moment anybody says that they have a mental health issue, a drug issue, an alcoholism issue, any of these things, eating too much, whatever it is, you're never going to be able to get out of that pigeonhole that you've pigeonholed yourself into. Not ever. Had she made a choice to quote unquote be sober prior to this, then she could stand on that. And people wouldn't be like, oh, she has a problem. Because what's going to happen if she does do that? And Karen, don't do it, girl. It's just like your attorney says, do not talk to the police no matter what. Do not give a formal statement because it will be used against you in the court of law. And that's what I'm saying. If she goes to some treatment center and films it or brings it onto this show, they're forever never going to let her out. Every time she has any type of drink, she's going to have to announce, I'm having a mocktail, so that the world or whoever's watching it won't judge her. But we're judging people. That's what people do. So that's why I really hope that even if she goes to get treatment, she doesn't announce it to them. I also hope she doesn't announce something that's unrealistic for her, in my opinion, at this point, which is, I'm never going to drink again. That's another thing that people do, and they pigeonhole themselves into that. And the moment they step outside of that box, oh, Karen was drinking 35, like, it'll just resurface in the same way that if you did something horrible 10 years ago and then someone else types in something about that event, it's going to bring all of that to the top. And now you're in the news again. Or it's just you're reminding people that Karen has a drinking problem. And I don't think she does. I believe her when she says she was somewhere eating and, having an emotional conversation with her friend or sister or whoever it was. I believe that. But I also know, well, I won't say Karen is a drunk because I don't know that. But I know there's been a few occasions where I feel like we're on some sort of trip. And when Karen is there and the damn fireball, okay? When Karen drinks, from what we could see on the TV, at least in my opinion, she gives out information that if she wasn't drinking, I don't think she would provide. I don't. I think she would be very reserved, kind of how season 1 and season 2 were for Candace. Just very, I'm supposed to be uppity and better than everyone, and I'm supposed to make great decisions at all times, and I'm the grand dame and all of that. It's just hard to keep up with something like that because if that's not your real personality, it's gonna come through. But I definitely don't want her to do anything like that because I think she's digging a hole for herself if she does that. Yeah, I hope she doesn't allow the narrative of she's a drunk or an alcoholic or can't, drink without having some sort of problem. I really hope she doesn't do that because, like I said, they're going to run with it. They're going to run with it. And the other thing, too, I don't know how many of you guys watch Real Housewives of Potomac from the beginning, but one of the things that Sharice said, I think it was last season at that stripper club that Mia was like, oh, they serve lobster. We serve lobster and steak. Girl, I can eat lobster and steak at my house. Stop trying to act like you're in some sort of special strip club situation. You're not. You're there to sell your body, what you look like. That's why the men or whomever are there. They're not there for the steak and the lobster. It doesn't not make it maybe not a good look. Shout out to all the strippers. Do whatever makes you happy. That's how I roll. Because I want people to let me be me. I'm going to let them be them. Would I tell them they shouldn't do it if they ask me? Absolutely. But I'm like, it don't bother me as long as it doesn't impact me. But that's the thing with Karen's situation. It impacts others or possibly could impact others. So that's why you shouldn't be able to do it. But I just don't think it's realistic to ask people to stop drinking. But I will say this. Remember I was telling you guys about prohibition and how, they basically tried to ban alcohol because it was the problem. Um, it didn't work, right? There's three things that I feel like are going to continue no matter what. It doesn't matter how much of a depression we in. Doesn't matter how broke we are. Three things that people are never going to give up if this is part of their thing that they like to do. People are never going to give up tobacco. Not ever. It ain't happening. People will spend their money on that and not have a box of cornbread, okay, in a house. Another thing is makeup. That industry is never going under. Not ever. Because I promise you, women, we will go out there and listen. I'm not a makeup girl. I don't wear makeup like that. But people want to feel beautiful. So they're never going to give that up. And then people are never going to not buy alcohol. It's just, it's a fact. They're just not. Because in my opinion, sometimes people are drinking because they are trying to, like Karen said, push something down, work through something they may be traumatized by. So they drink. I ain't never been drunk. So I don't know how that would work. That they are, the alcohol is making it easier for them to get through something. I don't know, but if that's what she's saying works for her, it is what it is. I'm just not going to run her over with a bus because of this senseless act. Because she could have set up and should have set up a way for her to go home prior to even going to wherever she was. It's just sad that she didn't use the best judgment in that moment. But like I said, before we judge her, you better be perfect. Because there's a lot of people on Housewives and these other shows. What's that lady name from Miami? I think her name is Marisol. Listen. And forgive me if that isn't her name. But when they were on that girls trip, it just was so funny because Marisol allegedly was sick. She was having some sort of stomach issue. But because, in my opinion, she comes off as a person who is physically addicted to alcohol. Why do I say that? Because she says she doesn't drink anything but alcohol. And she always has a cup with her. So my thing is, reasonable deduction says she is always drinking morning to night. And I don't know how often, whatever else, but meaning week, I don't know. But these are the words that lady said. And I'm sitting here watching the show like, maybe the reason your stomach hurts is because you only drink alcohol. Right? And the other thing too, like with Karen, the reason I don't want her to go and say, oh, I went to a treatment center and I'm sober and all this, because not everybody that drinks or gets drunk or has a situation like this is an alcoholic. It's just not true. Not everybody. Some people, they don't really drink at all, but they end up at somebody's bachelor party. Someone's like, just try it. And then, because I'll tell you my little story. One quick little story. I remember at my friend's 30th, it's like dirty 30 birthday shindig. It was at this really nice bar, like inside outside. I really liked the vibe. Was great. The music was everything. And that was the first time that I was like, ever took a shot. A fireball. And listen, the reason that's significant is because I am so the girl to be like, why are y'all drinking and why are you doing it? I'm all that. I've loosened up over the years and have decided, I should let people be and do whatever the hell they want because I want to be and do whatever the hell I want. But I remember drinking the fireball and everything the way I would normally be, like even with my husband, I'm like, why are you sitting on the decorative pillows? Like that would bother my life. Why are you in bed eating chips? Because now we got to things that would irritate me that people are doing it would annoy me, right? And I couldn't get out of my way of that. when I see people doing dumb shit. Like, anyway, or irresponsible things. Um, when I took that shot, I promise you, all my give a fucks went away. And I was sitting there like, oh my God. People were still doing things that would normally annoy me, and they were doing it, and I wasn't annoyed. I was just, it almost, if I'm being fair, almost felt like a mental restraint. Like, some people, I think I've mentioned a few times, I'm a therapist, right? In my real life. But some people or clients that I've had over the years, they are physically addicted. But when they have things like, bipolar, I've had my clients say things like, I really wanted to cry the other day because they are depressed about whatever their circumstances are. But I couldn't. And it's because of the medicine. Think about it. For people that I'll give you an example most people could probably understand. So Kanye West, and I'm not saying Kanye West is or isn't, but he said he suffers with bipolar, right? And as a clinician, I can certainly tell when something's off, because people that have bipolar disorder, depending on if they're manic or if they're depressed, whenever that's when they feel their best, when they're not taking medication. They feel like they're authentically themselves, which is why I was telling you about the lady earlier who was just like, I really wanted to cry. I was sad, but I couldn't. So it also, like I said, it's a mental restraint. So what happens is if they get into a manic episode, that's when they feel is very like alive. And that's usually because they've gone off their meds or their meds weren't high enough or whatever the case may be. And they'll start, certain behaviors will be like, oh, I'm going to clean the whole house and I'm going to paint the house. And it'll just be all these things that we know we're not going to be able to do in one day. And then they'll go, I'm going to paint this room, stop, go to another room, paint that, don't even finish anything. Or they start, doing things that are super irresponsible and reckless, like deciding that they want to go to Vegas and spend all their whole life savings. But when you see them get put back on the medicine, you can tell, because they're not as, I would say, erratic, or they're not in psychosis. So I think with Kanye West, I can kind of tell. It's like when he does things and people are like, really? Like, I'm gonna, befriend Donald Trump. It's like, what is happening? So to me, when he has situations like that, I think that that's a telltale sign, because he's doing things he probably wouldn't ordinarily do had he not been on whatever medication. That being said, I do remember several years ago on The View. Okay, so whenever they had Katrina, and, our society, at least in America, doesn't value brown people. So Kanye, and a lot of us were just kind of like, why does it take 5 days for the president to get to this disaster? But I'm not even going to go down that road. Basically, what Kanye was saying is, he said, I think, what did he say? George Bush don't like black people. It went everywhere. Like, it went everywhere. My feeling is he wasn't on medicine. Because I promise you, I've worked in hospitals in the psych department or the behavioral health department, and you'll see a patient, let's say on Monday. Maybe I don't come back to work until Wednesday. And on Monday, they're fighting and, doing the absolute most based on whatever state that they're in or whatever their diagnosis is, right? So it's very interesting to me, because I'll come back on Wednesday or Thursday and they're a completely different person. Completely different person. I had one patient that when she came there, she was on meth, I believe. And that is one of the most, it's like one of the worst. And she couldn't really receive it, but she wasn't combative about, let's get you in a treatment center, things like that. Initially, she was just kind of like, I don't want to. And there was another person there that was also doing the same thing, and this person wasn't helping her. This person was using her. And he wanted, in my opinion, to be, it's like people have, like trauma bonding, like they have, and so it's like in order for me to keep doing what I do, I don't have control of anything except if I need to have control over her, because she's the one thing I control in my life. Nothing else cannot control. But I remember I came back at some point and she was clear, meaning her thought process was clear. And then she was just like, yeah, I absolutely want to go, to rehab. It was just a different person. And that's why I say the drugs or whatever, they impact people differently. We all have the same organs, the same everything, right? But sometimes some of the things that we have, they alter because of our heredity, because of, maybe our genes, because of maybe possibly our actions, meaning getting into things that you shouldn't. It alters you. But it helps people. I can give you that for sure. You just have to have a caring, supportive system and be accountable for whatever your actions are. It's a daily struggle. No different than, when I say that, it's for like people who are physically addicted to something, like heroin, alcohol, whatever it is. It's no different to me than us, the people who aren't dealing with that type of thing. But we are dealing with other things. Like, okay, my parent passed away. So now I'm triggered when I watch a movie where someone's parent passes away. And for someone who just got out of rehab and is doing well, if you see something or smell a drug, like whatever it is, because I think weed has a very strong smell. I've never done weed, but I feel like I was walking somewhere into the grocery store. I was like, why does it smell like a skunk out here? And so I think that's the smell. And so for me, if you're a person who struggles with addiction, you go to the Walmart to get some food or whatever it is you're there for, and you smell this person in the parking lot, it could trigger you. But anyways, I'm hoping that Karen Huger gets her life together regarding that, because now she's going to have to talk to her daughter about it. It's just, she's doing so well. I don't want to see her fall over one mistake. Because I will say that's a mistake. Even though she knew what she was doing, I don't think she would have done that if she wasn't under the influence. That's what I think. So anyways, guys, just chime down in the, comments. Let me know what you think about Karen, the accident, how she's going to respond. And if you guys have any type of ideas of what she should do moving into season 9 to basically make this something that the girls don't just drag her within an inch of her life. But I also feel this way. They really can't. Because Karen be dragging them, listen, by the edges of they eyebrows. Especially Robin. She cannot. I think, I totally, Karen can't stand Robin. Because Robin, she gives the business every single, Karen always gets Rob together. Robin. She really can get in there together, I feel. So I'm hoping she makes a good decision moving forward. But like I said, thanks guys for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe on your way out. And I love you much for participating and helping me build my community here at Chanel's Reality. Talk to you guys later. Bye.